Wow! Yeah, check it. Episode 175 of the A2 show. We've been doing this 175 days, meeting people from all around the world. And this is our first guest from Argentina. Welcome, Anita Serra.
Thank you.
Is that how you say your last name?
Anita Pouchard Serra, yes.
Anita Pouchard Serra. Welcome to the show. Anita's a photojournalist, um, and she does it in different places around the world. Anita, how do you describe what kind of photojournalism you do? I know there are different kinds of photojournalism, but what's your focus?
Well,
Mhm.
I have some topic I like to work on, and these topics they're like migration, identity, urban and territory issues, and also women's rights and
Uh-huh.
struggles. And so what's something important for me in the kind of photojournalism I'm doing, it's to have a special connection with the topic I'm working on. I'm not super interested to work on places
Hmm.
or stories that I have no connection or no previous experience or background.
Okay.
I like to be a witness of
Hmm.
something I had experienced myself in a way.
Would you say like you like to spend like maybe more time with like the subjects and like live and then like photograph around you like your experience versus like I know there are some photojournalists like to go to like war photojournalists, like they go to an area, they snap, take some pictures, and then they're out and they get some amazing photos, right? But that's not maybe what you're saying you do. You like to spend more time on each subject, right?
Yeah, it's not.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is a lot of different way to be a
Hmm.
photojournalist, and it's great because we
Yeah.
need diversity of voices and of kind of images or stories uh, we are seeing. But yes, in my case, long term project are the format I prefer. I need time. I'm a super slow photographer. I need time to to understand. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes I don't take pictures maybe the first week or that kind of stuff. And I don't bring my camera everywhere all the
Oh,
time.
okay. Hmm.
So yes, I prefer to have time and yes to have this special connection. I mean, I'm a person, a human being, super curious of the life and of the society. So I
Sure.
will be super interesting to talk with everybody or
Hmm.
to read a lot of stuff about
I see.
community in
Hmm.
Asia. But I won't be the journalist going to an unknown place.
I see.
And
So, I
yeah.
mean, just by saying you don't carry your camera all the time, right? You choose to maybe try to have an experience there and then try to photograph it later. Is that how it works? When do you decide, okay, now I'm taking photos and now I'm just like, I don't know, living the experience?
Yes, I think that I say this in two ways. First, in my daily life, I don't have my camera every time if something
There
happens.
are
So
people
if
that
some,
have it, right? There are people that have their cameras on them all the time, like
yeah,
photographers and
because
documentary photographers,
maybe
especially. Hmm.
something could happen, and I know that maybe something could happen, but I'm not so interesting to cover this. And also, I live in downtown, so it's not so complicated for me to go to home
Hmm.
and pick up my camera if really I need to take pictures as soon as possible. And on the second hand, in my long-term project, yes, I prefer to. I need inspiration. So in my case, photography is not only to take picture of what I see. It's more to take picture about what I experience, what
Hmm.
I something which is filling me and my inspiration, my mind. So I need time to make this happen. So maybe I
Fair.
can
Hmm.
go 1 week and see the
Hmm.
same situation, but I don't see anything, and I will start to see really what I want to do 1 week or 10 days after. And also because it's great to build a relationship with the person you are
With the
working
person.
with.
Hmm.
So if you arrive with your big camera first day like this, it
Yeah.
could be, I
Right.
think it's
Fair.
interesting to think about this
No, this is true.
today.
That's fair. All right, Anita, let's jump right into it. Let's start looking at some of your photos here. Um, all right, let's start here. Time. Let's start right off. Latin
Um,
America's youngest lawmaker is fighting to expand abortion access while working out of her mom's living room. And what we're looking at here is Anita's photo. Let's see it.
yes, with Ofelia,
All
Ofelia
right, there you
Fernandez.
go.
Yes.
And Anita, right here. Of Ofelia Fernandez. All right, yeah. Can you tell us more? So you said like you like to develop a relationship with um the people before you take a photo. How much did you like prepare for this photo, or how much do you know Ophelia?
Yeah.
You tell
Yeah,
us more
Ofelia,
about her. Yeah.
Yeah, Ophelia, I met her 2 years ago, and I
Hmm.
took a portrait of her 2 years ago for another outlet. And she's really, she's young, she's famous here, and it's like, I mean, well, there we have half of the society who love her and
Hmm.
half of the society who hate her. I mean, the part who
I
love
see.
her. So
Okay.
I
Hmm.
follow her for a
It's
while. So
controversial.
yeah,
Yes.
so
Hmm.
it was super simple to spend this time with her. Also, I was with other a video journalist leading an interview, and also friends of Ofelia. So it was like to be in a home with friends.
Hmm.
So I was a little bit more stressed by the idea to work for Time magazine because it was my first time for them. So, but it was great to start with a portrait of somebody I have a connection with because
I
she's
see.
defending my rights here in Argentina.
Hmm.
So it was a beautiful experience to make this portrait and to can
Wow.
talk with her
Hmm.
about the idea she is leading. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love this day.
No, so. I just want to ask about you this photo here. Why is there like the shadow here, shadow light? Is this on why?
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
I love to take portrait and play with light, and it was a quite difficult situation where we were. I mean, difficult situation for the inspiration
Hmm.
because it was at the end of the day, so few light. I mean, this piece of light was the last one available
Oh wow.
in
I see.
in the courtyard where we were doing the shooting. Um, and so I took so many pictures and some more a little bit with more movement. I also took Polaroid this day. But yes, I was looking to find a way to play with the light and how to put the light on her, because also I was sure that this publication as a young next generation leader in Time magazine will make a lot of noise here.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
it was to bring the light to the youth, to a woman, to the
I mean the
youngest
light shine on her
woman.
face,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. It was a little bit the idea I tried to develop in this portrait.
All right. And so can you tell us more? So Time contacts you and saying we want a photo of Ophelia. Is that how it goes, or is that how it went
Yeah,
for this one? Okay, sounds good.
yeah, for this one,
Not sure.
it worked
Hmm.
like this. It
Hmm.
depends. You know,
Hmm.
I'm a freelancer,
Hmm.
so basically my job is to look for a job every day. So
Yes.
So,
All right.
but
But you
in
do
this
some cool
case,
ones.
yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty
in
cool.
this case, yeah,
Hmm.
I was so, I was so happy when I saw the email. I couldn't believe this, and also I was a little bit stressed because I had to travel abroad for a family emergency, and I thought, oh no, I hope I can do this before, and I don't want to lose this opportunity. Also
Yes. Hmm.
because of Ophelia, I mean, it was a super nice opportunity for several reasons, for Ophelia, for Time Magazine. Um, so, so yes, they wrote me and I say yes.
Yes.
Of
Uh
course,
huh.
yeah.
And then so I'm just trying to understand more of the photo here. So
Mm-hmm.
where is this just at a backyard someplace, or um I saw the other photos in
Yeah,
this series.
yeah,
They were
it's
just
like
like in a
a
yard or
rooftop.
some a rooftop. I see. I
Yeah,
see.
it was the
Hmm.
rooftop of a house, a
I
friend's
see.
house of Ophelia.
I
So
can. Was she?
something super relaxed.
Mhm. Was she? So I mean, you picked that place. Is it because like she was there already, or you picked that place
No, she
for a reason?
proposed.
Oh,
She
okay. She
proposed, yeah, she
proposed it.
proposed the place because
Hmm.
also we had an idea to maybe do some portrait in the street. But for the reason I mentioned, for she suffered a lot of harassment online.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So we decided to don't expose her to a shooting outside to see people that somebody was taking a picture of her.
Hmm.
So she preferred, and also as a journalist, I wanted to preserve her.
Hmm.
So we did it there in this rooftop, but with the few lights we had. But yeah, it was
It
we
turned
could
out
do
pretty
something.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So she's a controversial figure, and if you're photographing, I know you do a lot of controversial topics or topics people have different views on. Do
Yeah.
you get
Uh-huh.
like attention or harassment, or just, or for any of, because you said she's getting a lot of harassment is the word you used. Yeah.
Mhm.
So does any of
Yeah.
that trickle to the photojournalist, like the photographer?
Well, that's funny because just before the our meeting, I was in a focus group about harassment of
Oh
women
wow.
journalists,
Okay.
so that's why it was a bit
Perfect.
like.
All right. What came out of it?
And
Mhm,
it's maybe in the last months, yeah, perfect. In the last
mhm,
months, I started to pay more attention to this,
mhm,
to be more prepared, and with the portrait of Ofelia, I mean the harassment came to my account when I
mhm.
published. I'm so
Okay.
happy to have spent. I don't remember what I put, but I'm so happy to have spent a day for
Uh-huh.
time with Ofelia, and
Mhm.
I couldn't believe how many hate comments on my Twitter, because I am stupid. I don't know who I. So I discovered this very
Uh-huh.
hard, and I could imagine what have been for Ophelia, and also the post of the Time magazine. It was like impressive how many comments there. But also because as you said, I'm working on a topic like migration
Mhm.
or women's rights. Yes, they're typically a little bit difficult, and I had an experience in an Instagram account where I made a takeover about a project I did here during the COVID, about immigrants at the front of COVID and fighting for their community. And it was an account in the US a few months or few weeks before the election. So I
Ouch.
had a lot of
A
comments
lot. It's a hot topic.
anti-immigrants.
Mhm.
And it was super
Mhm.
hard for me because they were using a foreign story to make local politics. It was hard for to me to
Oh.
share this with the protagonist of my story. At first, I was super happy that that's cool. We will be featured on this account. I will give you. And after when I started to read the comments, it's like no, I don't want to expose them. I
Yes.
I,
Yeah.
I read this, but I don't want them to read this because it's not directly against them. Yes, it's against immigrants,
Yes.
but it's not specifically for the story I was working on. So
No, that's true. Yeah, they just take any sources they can and try to,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they're,
yeah.
yeah. Sounds good. Well, since we're on the topic of immigration, let's move on to this project you did here, right? The welcome to Entipiku. How do you say
Yeah,
this?
it's a
Into,
collective. Yeah,
all right, it's a collective
Intipuca.
project. Intipika. All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Intipuca it's a collective project. So
tell us
I
about
will
it.
mention
Hmm.
my two fellows, Coral Carballo and Jessica Avalos. Coral is a photographer from Mexico, and Jessica Avalos is a Brazilian journalist from El Salvador.
Hmm.
Um, and Welcome to Intipuca City is a project we started 3 years ago in El Salvador, in Intipuca. It's a small city about migration, but we wanted to talk about migration from the point of view of the place you left and not of the place you arrive.
Oh
So,
wow.
what happened
Hmm.
in the village you left, in
Hmm.
the family you left, in the friend you left, in the economy, the social vibes, or your place of your place? Sorry. So we started with a small story in this village, and we discovered that the story was more powerful than just a 3-day story on a newspaper. So
Yes.
we decided to continue the project, and we started to apply to some grants to fund the project because we are three, because it's a lot of trips and travels.
Hmm.
And we finally managed to win some grants, and we could start the other part of the project in the US because all the people of this village are migrating to Washington DC area. So we started to work with the family in both sides,
Oh,
and to work very important for the project, transnationalism, how is to be
transnationalism.
divided between, yeah.
Hmm.
And it's a poetic project but also super political because we believe on migration, we believe
Okay.
on the power to be a transnational human being.
Hmm.
And so we want to give another picture of Latino migration in the US, and not only
Literally
uh,
pictures. Literally. All right. This is what I want to know.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry for cutting you off.
No, no, just to
Mhm.
displace a little bit the coverage of migration from the
Yes.
border. I mean, not everything is happening in the border. What is happening 40 years after you migrate, for example?
Yeah.
So we are working with 60 participants in this
60
project. Yeah,
participants. That's why they need the three of you. Why do you need
yeah,
the
yeah.
three photojournalists? Like, why were you working together,
No,
or was
one
each
is a
person?
Britain journalist. So
I
she's
see.
yeah.
Okay.
No, we work together all the time.
Okay.
We are and we decided everything together. That's why we the signature of the project, the copyright or the author, it's the three names in every
So
picture and every text.
each picture is associated to the three of you, right?
Yeah,
Is that how it works? Oh
because
wow.
because we are defending something that is hard to defend
Hmm.
because people or outlets do well, but I think if I take a picture, me, Anita, I mean, the final click will be the result of a longest conversation with my
I
colleagues.
see.
So it's not so important who is doing the last click,
Yeah.
because this picture is inspired by the work we are doing together. The same for the text. And now we are working on a podcast also,
Oh wow.
using, yeah.
Amazing. All right. What are you guys gonna
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about?
It will be a kind of little stories of
Okay.
different participants of the project who have a special migration. It could be people who migrated,
Hmm.
people who stay in the village, or people who come back
Well, I
to the
mean,
village
you're
after many years
interviewing
in the
people
US.
anyways, right? You're interviewing people
Yeah,
anyways for what you do, so it makes
yeah.
sense that you can take it to like a thing like this and just show that process to the people. I'm sure people get interested by it. That's pretty cool. All right, let's look at the
Mm-hmm.
photos.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this one. So what am I
Mm-hmm.
looking at here, Anita?
Yeah, this it's the first picture of the project 3 years
Okay.
ago, and
Hmm.
I think it's a good resume of the project. Is the Liberty statue in
Hmm.
a courtyard in El Salvador. So they brought the statue from the US 2 weeks by the road. It's the house of former US residents. So for them, it represents something part of their culture. And what we like to work on this project is the idea of trans territory.
Okay.
So you are never completely in the place.
Hmm.
We are in El Salvador, but we have this piece
Yes.
which remain to the US. And when you are
Hmm.
in the US, you have some stuff you could be in El Salvador. So we have a huge visual work trying to find this little. This one is not so little,
Yes,
but
this is pretty big.
this little detail
Hmm.
about trans
Wow,
territory.
I see. That's all right. Let's look at some more then. Might as well. Let's see what we have here. Okay, this is like inside the house, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's
mhm,
exactly the idea. I was saying at the left we are in Virginia in the
oh,
US,
okay.
and at the right we are in El Salvador with the former Manhattan skyline.
I see. And this one?
Yeah, and this one it's in El Salvador. It's a queen of Intipuca.
I see.
They used to do during a festival every year.
Oh wow, pretty cool. All right, let's see one more. All right, so what's
Mhm.
going on here?
So yeah, this one is so we are really interested in this mix of culture in the relationship you have
Hmm.
with the place you left. Um, the woman we could see the face is Tia Maria. She is a resident in the US. She's from Intibuga. She's a famous YouTuber.
Oh
So
wow.
I
Hmm.
encourage Spanish speakers who are listening to us to check her
Check it out.
Instagram and
Hmm.
YouTube account. She's really funny. She's like the aunt of the Latinos in the US. She's
Okay.
really famous now, and she's part of a group. So some of the women we can see, it's a picture in Intipuca in El Salvador. They are called the ambassadors,
Hmm.
US ambassadors for Intipuca. So they're Salvadorian residents in the US who are make raising funds to help the village, organizing events, and with the funds they can help the school in Tipuca to buy chairs and tables, or backpack for the students. Or also they have been in the past, other organization have been in the past building the stadium and the cultural center only with money from the US, from the
Oh,
residents.
wait. So using money from the yes, they're building stuff just because I guess, yeah,
So it's
that's why people
you know,
travel, right, to the
yeah,
States, right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. It's not. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
you have the idea that I earn money to send to my family, but
Okay,
in this case, they also earn money to do something together to better the village.
I see.
So imagine a stadium and a cultural center. It's like one of the three or four more important stuff in the
Yeah.
city,
Mm-hmm.
and it was thanks to the resident in the US.
Wow. All right. I mean that's pretty cool that happened, all came
Yeah.
together. So you have you ever followed an immigrant's journey from El Salvador, Argentina to the United States, like the whole process, or
No, we
no?
didn't.
Mhm.
We did the reverse.
Oh,
We
okay.
traveled with
Hmm.
one of our protagonists from
Hmm.
Washington to El Salvador.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And let me see.
Uh,
Is that photo in here,
yes, with
right?
this idea of the journey.
Hmm. Is that photo here
Yeah,
somewhere?
yeah. We
This
have
one?
uh-huh. We
Yes.
have a special yes, and before there were like some kind of mapping. We are working also
Oh,
with
these.
graphic elements.
Okay.
I think a little bit. Yes,
This
there are
one.
family trees
Family trees.
made by the protagonist of the story. So they use two colors. They use the red
Okay.
to represent people in the US and the
Hmm.
blue to represent people in El Salvador. So it's a kind of sensitive mapping of how your family is divided between two countries, but also how two countries are living inside your personal story.
Hmm. Oh wow. Um. Yeah, it's a really cool experience for me. My experience is that, um, I mean, I was born in the States, but I lived in Lebanon most of my life, and so even though I'm a citizen, just moving here, it just felt like I do feel connected to Lebanon in a lot of ways, and Beirut. But I also feel connected to Los Angeles just because I live here, all my friends are here and stuff. And no, I'm also, I mean, pro immigration myself, just because I mean, the more you travel, the more you get to see things and meet people and see that we're actually all the same, kind of.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and understand a little bit better the world where we are
Hmm.
living, because you have two you're looking at the situation from two different places. So so I think it's super interesting.
Yeah. When you so you travel a lot, right? Just for your projects. So what's it like for you to, I don't know, having a home? Do you have like a base camp somewhere where you spend most of your time, or you just like each project you're just in a different place?
Yes,
Hmm.
I mean, well, with the pandemic, everything changed. So
Okay.
for the last 2 3 years, I travel a lot with this project,
Hmm.
and because I have my life in Argentina, but I have family and friends, it was a mess. I mean, I was using this professional trip to visit my family and friends, and another one to go to work, and after finally go back to Argentina. But where I stepped to have a home because it was just impossible to I mean, it was no sense to pay rent, to don't spend a
Yeah,
lot of time
if you're
there.
not gonna spend
So
time there.
during 2 years, yeah,
Hmm.
yes. So during 2 years, I didn't have a home, more than 2 years, and I have all my stuff in bags or friends' home. And but this year, the pandemic just stopped a little bit the project and all the project I may have. So so I had two trips in the US I couldn't do. I have one trip to France I couldn't do. So finally, a home opportunity appears here, and now I have a home, and I spend the last 2 3 years at home and putting every
Uh-huh.
little detail to have. So now I have a
That's
base.
awesome.
Yeah, and it's cool because also I guess I will travel again. I don't know if soon or as soon as possible, but now I have this base, and I couldn't have time in the past year with the work to set up this and to take time for this. So it's one of the positive aspects of the
Yeah,
pandemic.
they get to spend time at home. Yeah, I mean, for
Yeah.
a bunch of us, if anything, we're all just spending more time at home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Um, I was interested by some of these pictures here. I don't know if you can tell me about what is
Oh
this and what is
yeah.
she saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's part of the project.
Hmm.
We draw. We use drawing as a
Hmm.
tool for storytelling. We like to explore and to go. Uh, I mean, further that only a traditional photo essay. That's why we're doing a podcast, that kind of family trees, and now this kind of drawing. So
Hmm.
what we are doing is it's like a live drawing. So when we are interviewing the
Oh,
protagonist, we
yes.
start to draw, and depending on the interview, we finally wrote a punchline or a headline
Hmm.
of the interview, something strong. So in this case, she's saying it was not a home anymore; it was a house. So she's talking about her parents. She lives in the U.S. and her parents too, but they decided to transform the house in the village to make it bigger with an American style. And so what she's saying is that all her memories as a child in the grandmother house disappeared, and now it's not her home; it's a house, beautiful house, but she don't feel any personal connection with this. And this happened a lot. Many people in the US started to build big houses, really
Yeah.
different, with an architectural style really different from the local style, and with American ideas or styles. So it's an expression of this kind of cases.
Oh well. All right. Cool. That's the first one. I want to see what else.
Mhm.
We have the other ones here.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so
Oh,
it's her father.
okay.
So he said something super interesting also for us. When the question is American dream, and he says we had a Salvadorian dream. So it's also
Okay.
to say that there is an American dream, but many times the American dreams comes because the Salvadorian dreams couldn't be because of a war, because of economic situation, because of violence today. And also this Salvadorian dream remains in the mind and in the hearts. Many of them dream to go back to El Salvador to get retired. So they work all the life in the US and have this dream to go back, but sometimes it's not because after 60 years in the US,
Wow.
all your life is in the US. So
Yeah, it's hard.
you have the
Hmm.
children, so it's hard to go back to El Salvador. But yes, it's interesting to cross the dreams.
It is interesting, right? Yeah, just because I'm sure even in El Salvador there are people who are more ready to move, and there are people who are more ready to stay. I'm sure like migration is like a hard decision for a lot of people. It's not easy, but
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
Hmm.
Yeah. There is the maybe this idea also from the haters, no? It's so easy to migrate. So, no, it's super difficult for many reasons, for the journey, for when you arrive, for what you leave behind you. So, to stay it's difficult, to go it's difficult, and also what we learn with this story, it's not finished project, but we're almost at the end. It's that migration it's a right, so people have the right to move, but also people should have the right to stay if they want.
Yeah,
And it's in certain situation it's difficult for the situation, the violence, or in a conflict, in war.
interesting. Yes. It's interesting how you say it's a right. Here in America, they would not say it's a right to immigrate. Just it is
Yeah.
interesting. I immigrate. I mean, I immigrated, so it's mean. I just think it's well. The reason I left Lebanon and came to the United States just because college, career opportunities, safe. There is no war here. I mean, right now, just the economy is not like it's in shambles in Lebanon. So I mean, I guess I'm very glad that I had the opportunity to travel and come to the United States. If if anyone has thoughts on immigration or questions about it, I mean, I guess that there are people like me and other people who move, and it's fine. We don't take anything. We're building new things. So
Yeah,
yeah, we have the opportunity to
definitely.
build, and that's what kind of the American dream was initially about. That people came from all over the world, the best and brightest, send us your the weak and we'll make them strong here together. but also at the same time, I kind of wish I stayed in Lebanon for because my family there, my friends there. I feel like I have a different kind of connection, a more deeper one with my family back and people in general back there. So I'm still also confused about all this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a confusion. It's a mess.
All right. Let's look at some more. Let's look at this third one here. Yeah. What am I looking at?
Yes, this one say part of the American dream is to get retired in El Salvador. So it's decided that you work
Yes.
hard all your life with 2 jobs, with no weekend holidays, and with the dream to enjoy again and in a different way with more possibility your homeland. In Tipuca, it's a small village but close to the beaches. It's beautiful part. So and Washington D.C. Winter in Washington D.C. just desperate.
Where it's warm. That's funny. That's fun. All right.
So, yes, so many of them miss this simple thing.
All right. Can you mind my ignorance, but why would people what are the reasons people leave Argentina or El Salvador from, to be specific more?
Well, each country it's different.
Yeah.
I mean, El Salvador had a lot of different issues in the last decades, a conflict like in other countries in Central America, and economy issues and violence. So it's a lot, and it's never stopped. I mean, there always something that make you migrate or make this idea possible for you. In Argentina, it's a little bit different. In the same, in the last decade, we had different chapters on the history with dictatorship. So many people have to exile in Europe or a little bit in the US. And also we had a crisis, well, we have several, but the big one in 2001. So many people just left to find better opportunities to do whatever what they can in other country. In Spain there is a lot of Argentinian there. So yes, now in Argentina it's more eventually for economic reason, and also to have more opportunities sometimes with to study abroad. But yes, I think situations are very different regarding the country.
Each place is different, but it's more so it's all kind of the same thing, is that there are places where it's safe to have the opportunity and pursue dreams. I mean, America more so, right? And it's interesting. People travel there. You took photos in Latin America and France. Do you ever do any projects in Algeria?
Yes, I'm working on one. I never been. Yeah,
okay.
I've never been to Algeria. It's my dream. So I had the plan to do this year, but yes, it's over.
I see.
But yes, my mother never.
But you haven't been.
Never went back to Algeria. Sorry. So yes, I never been, and she never go back after she left when she was 10 years old. So the idea, I started a project with her about her memories, also because she left Algeria during a war. So I started to collect archives, memories of her childhood, and also archives from a guy, Abdelbaki. She's talking with for the last 15 years. They met virtually on a platform about the city where she was born in Algeria, and they're exchanging information. So, for example, these pictures with a lot of small pictures. The first one.
These ones.
Yes. This one is like
what's this? Yeah.
No, the first one with with the frames, all the frames, like it's a video. I separate the frames.
Sorry, these.
Yeah, this.
Is what you mean? Yeah.
With the sky, yeah.
Okay, so what am I looking at?
So for example,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a video and I just separated. I'm exploring more visually,
Mm-hmm.
really different visual language than journalism, because it's a more personal project.
Oh, pretty
So
cool.
it's just a
Yeah.
video he made for her in her street.
And
So
driving
he's
around the
like
block.
guiding her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and sending messages to her saying, so here it was your home, here it was the bakery, or that kind of stuff, because he's passionate about history. So yes, I'm just like a witness of this conversation they have, and
Yes,
also
that's pretty cool.
interrogating myself about
Mm-hmm.
how this story has an impact on my identity, and the construction of my identity. So yes, the idea is to go with her.
This is your
So yeah,
mother
for example,
and younger
it's a
her.
good example. Yeah, it's a good
Mm-hmm.
example. Yeah, it's a good example of how I working on this project. So it's a portrait of her at the left. I made last year, and on the right it's a portrait of her when she had to leave the country. It's an official
Not photographed by
identity
you.
photo.
Not
No,
photographed by you.
no, I was not there.
Uh-huh.
And the pictures above,
Mm-hmm.
it's she sent me this picture. We are talking by email, and it's a Google picture she found making a research, and she said, okay, that's kind of stuff I saw. It's written in French. Going to school, I see that kind of dead people on the streets when I was young. So it was a way for her to express what she had in her memories
I see.
and what she experienced during the war.
So
So and I
Anita,
decided
sorry, can you, what is this saying here?
to
This
yeah
phrase, can you say it in French and then in English?
yeah good. Ah, yeah, sure. I can. En allant à école, j'ai vu ce genre, mais recouvert de journaux.
Wow.
So yes,
Wait,
yeah,
wait.
it's super.
In English?
And English, yes, going to school, I saw that kind of situation, but covered that newspaper.
I see. Okay. I see. All right. Cool. So you want to work on this more, I guess, post COVID, right? You go to Algeria with your mom and explore.
Yeah,
Cool project. Sounds,
I'm
yeah.
working now with
Mm-hmm.
I'm working now with the archive and
Mm-hmm.
with the ID, and also I'm producing picture this about this how this memory impact my daily life. So I'm taking pictures now,
I see.
but the final part will be to travel to Algeria with her, and I don't know when this will happen, but one day,
One day. Hey,
inshallah.
inshallah. Yeah, best of luck. That's pretty cool. That sounds like a cool project. All right, since let's look at this one here. How a refugee camp became a city.
Yeah.
So you took these photos here. Where is this?
This is in the border between France and England, so
I
it's the
see.
beach. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have England in the other side, and you can see England, the English coast. So it's really, really close. And I've been there several months, 5 years ago, no, 4 years ago, almost five,
Mm-hmm.
documenting the camp called the Jungle. It was an informal refugee
Yes.
camp
Mm-hmm.
waiting for the possibility to cross the border. So it became a city. I mean, it was, it's not a camp made by the government.
Yes.
So it was more a kind of slum, but really, really well
A village.
organized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just focus on how you won't see any faces of refugees in this essay. So I focus more on how the people to continue to be human beings, just try to reproduce the little action we need to live every day. So like we saw in this picture, not a living room where you can just be with your friends.
Yeah.
So all this small action to try to connect with the audience, because also what was happening, and it's still happening the same, a lot of how to say this, racism or fears about refugees. And so the idea was just to show, okay, they're just the same as you are, and you would probably would do the same in this context if you were stuck at the border with no help.
I mean,
And
yeah,
after
exactly.
6 months, yeah.
Yeah, what else will you do, right? You gotta
Yeah,
live
so
somehow.
that's why I focus on this, on how the refugees have been able to build these little details of to create a home despite the environment and the political environment and social environment.
And social environment. You know what it reminds me of? I was looking at it. I want to show you
It
some of
projects.
the. It reminds me of some of the homeless camps here in Los Angeles, just in general.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it just like people build cities. I mean, these guys haven't had homes for the longest whiles, and so they just started
Well,
building tents, and these are very common now, just around Los Angeles. So it just shows that
wow.
when people don't have a home, they'll just take any. I mean, they need it, right? I guess housing is a basic right.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
um, amazing. Sounds good. But what I like about you, Anita, you're optimistic, right? Can this crisis be used to build a better future in Argentina? What do you think? What do you think? What's this project here?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's my last project I've been doing during the pandemic
Yes.
with 5 immigrant women workers here in Argentina. I could work on this thanks to the Pulitzer Center for Crisis Reporting. It's an organization in the US that support underreported story.
Hmm.
So some Thai outlets don't want to fund. So my idea with this project, I mean, as migration, it's a topic super important for me. I continue to explore and more in different stories, the several ideas. And what I was super interesting with this project was to put the immigrants in a different place where the society used to put them. That people who came to receive help from the government and just wait for this money. Because I read this so much in the comments on some newspaper or just in the TV. So with this story about 5 immigrant worker women in the slum of the Bajo Flores, the
Hmm.
idea was to show, no, these women are the ones who are doing what the state is not doing
Yes. Hmm.
in the slum during the pandemic.
Hmm.
They are attending the needs of the community,
What do you
and
mean by
because
the
we
needs of
have
the
a lot of
community?
slums here in Buenos Aires.
I see.
In the pandemic, we have a lot of informal workers. So when the pandemic starts, and we start with the lockdown in March, and we finished the lockdown 3 days ago. So imagine 7 months.
Wow, 7 months. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine.
So
Yeah.
so many informal
Hmm.
workers just couldn't work anymore, but they don't have any help of the employer, of the state, of
Hmm.
anything. These women are part of social organization, working for a lot of time in their neighborhood, and they started to set up soup kitchen. Some were health community promoters, so they were identifying people who had the risk to be contaminated by COVID and gave the list to the government. So for these people, we have to find strategy to bring them food because they can't go outside. So
Yes.
they started to do a lot
Oh
of
wow.
stuff that
Hmm.
the state, the governments are well not doing. And
Uh-huh.
but not only now with the pandemic. I mean, this kind of neighborhood have a lack of attention from the government in many ways. And also these women know the reality of the place and know the needs of the places because they are living there.
And
So
knows the people, right? It
yeah,
looks
know the
like they know
people.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly.
I see.
So they were essential workers but not recognized as worker because they do it for free.
Amazing. Honestly, that's so
Yeah,
how
that's
so,
a subscription.
how do you find these people in this project?
Well, I'm close. I know this
Hmm.
organization. Also, there are several organizations. So, but one is Migrate. It's not a crime, and I know them, and I took picture in the past. Sometime when they make more demonstration or that kind of stuff. And so when I finally get stuck here in Argentina and all my other projects disappeared because of the pandemic, because I
Yes.
just took 5 minutes. Okay, I'm here.
Yes.
I will do something
Something.
I like. So I will work with women and migration, and I think about them
Yeah.
in 2 minutes later.
And yeah, and when
So
people, I mean,
so the idea was also
mhm. Yeah, sorry.
The idea was also to show them. The idea was to show them empowered in movement, in action. It was important to highlight this visually.
You're just, well, the thing is, you're showing them. I mean, these photos will be here for history now at this point, just because COVID happened, right? And there were so much happened. Of course, there were like people working in hospitals and stuff, and we know about a lot of the people, the real essential workers. But there are people who are working, who do a lot of effort to just, I mean, do great for their community, just good, selfless people. And if it
Exactly.
weren't for these kinds of photos, you just think the world is just sad and bitter, and just like, because you sometimes only see the photos of the bad things, right? The explosions, the deaths, the war, but you don't see photos of just like people working together. And
Yeah,
what I
exactly.
like about this project, it is
Mhm.
optimistic like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was exactly one of the main idea of the project to show action, response, organization.
Yes.
So yes.
Pretty cool. All right. So let's say someone wants to become a photojournalist and they have topics they're into. What's a good way to get started? What do you think?
Sorry. Can you repeat?
If I want to become a documentary
Ah,
filmmaker or a photographer or just anything,
okay.
you know a lot about different media kinds of media. All right, what's a good way
To start.
to find stories, and then to find the stories, and then also to tell the stories from your experience?
Well, I
Yeah.
think,
Mm.
As I said a little bit at the beginning, I think there is plenty of stories around us. So it's not necessary to go really, really far. For example, the story of the immigrant woman workers, it was just 15 minutes away from where I was living. So, so sometimes we are looking super far and we don't see something we have really close. So to start, I think it could be a good good point. And yes, to try to. I think it's interesting to have a look also at story that you have a kind of connection or experience, because it's important today to in the industry we are trying to diversify who is looking or who is telling the stories. So
Yes.
because for many years it has been the white Western male looking at the world.
Well, because they can afford the
um,
cameras. They're the only people who used to afford cameras,
yeah,
right? Now everyone
they
has one.
have the possibilities
Yeah.
and the also the outlets were just they were not hiring local photographers or journalists. So and you have this at the world scale, but also in your country or in different communities on different topic, like I don't know, like LGBTQ or transgender or the Black community or indigenous community. So I think what it's important maybe today is to try to think a little bit who could cover this and which lens or which background I'm covering this topic. So think about yourself and where you can add something to the debate with a
Yes.
special lens,
Mhm.
with a special angle. And yes, be curious of what is
Be
happening around
curious.
you.
Yeah, I mean that's the first step. And
Yeah.
then okay, so you find a subject you like, right? You're like, "Oh, these are some people, they're working like they're helping out people in the community. I want to photograph them." So what do you
Hmm.
just go, do you like go up to them personally and just say, "Hey, I'm Anita, I'm a photojournalist. Can I follow you around and take photos?" Is that, or how does that go?
Yeah, more or less like this, but I
Hmm.
take my time to think if I want to do this and how to do it. I like to go when the first time I will start to reach people to work with them. I like to have the a time to think myself really what I would propose to them, and not to go, well, I don't know, maybe I will do.
Yes. Mhm.
So because people must feel confident with what you are doing, and comfortable. So I take my time to have my ID cleared first,
Mhm.
and after I go and I explain the project now here in Argentina, a new one. And I really enjoy explaining what I'm doing. Sometimes people say, yes, okay, you're a journalist, do what you have to do. Say, yes, but I want you to explain what I'm doing, because I think it's good that you know why I'm doing this, why I asked you to take these pictures. I like to, I'm a kind of teacher on the field now.
I see. Well, I mean, that's different than like a fly on the wall kind of approach, right? Because I mean, I know some photographers, they just like literally like, just do your thing and I'll just follow around and take photos. But you're like, no, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to talk about. And this is the reason why I'm following you, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel for many years what was important, it was only the result and the picture.
Yes.
But today I think it's important what happened behind the pictures and in the backstage of the production of this picture. So I want to improve this in my practice. So I want people to feel good even if I'm in a slum, in a difficult situation, I say, okay, I will do this, my idea is this. And I'm super passionate about challenge this and want to have better practice as a journalist.
I mean, it's pretty cool because, as you say, it just makes just makes your life more fun, right? I guess if you're more engaged with what you're doing versus like just standing behind and just following, and it's your own story. You're part of the story when something like that happens. So pretty cool. All right. Well, Anita, what are some future projects you're working on?
Well, right now I'm working on a start 2 weeks ago, thanks to a fund of National Geographic. I'm working about how the pandemic impact the tango community. Here in Argentina, tango, it's like super iconic dance and culture in Argentina.
You can't tango, you can't salsa in COVID times. Or maybe you can.
It's the worst. I mean, it's the worst thing you can do. You have to hug someone you don't know in a close place. So it's no way. So so yes, it's a kind of new topic for me. I mean, because it's not really, it's really different from the other topic of story I've been doing, but so it's challenging in a way. But also I try to put a social and political part in the project in a way that what about the workers of the tango community, who were most of them non-formal workers. So when the pandemic started, they just had nothing to do and no help, because tango is super famous, but there is not a really cultural politic or policy for this in Argentina. So I try also to keep this aspect about the situation of the worker, but also how emotionally they have been impacted because they don't have hug people in a place to dance for months. So how this challenge your body and your soul.
Yes. Wow. All right.
Yes, I try to go. Yeah, I try to go a little bit further than only the typical photojournalistic essay, but to try to interrogate also the emotions. So yes, I'm working on this now. And I guess next year I will continue to work on the Algerian project.
Yes. Good luck with that.
Also, and also work on abortion right, because it start to be a topic again here. And I had a project I started 1 year ago, and I will continue this.
All right, sounds good, amazing. Well, we're almost out of time here, but I want to ask you one more thing, Anita. I just want to know, now we talked about all your photos and your stories you have. Why do you still want to continue making all these? You've had a lot of success and you're still, exploring new things and trying different things and different kinds of visual arts. And why do you keep doing it?
Well, I think I'm an eternal beginner. So each new project is like, oh no, I don't know how I can do this. I don't know. I don't have any skills. I really feel a beginner every time. So I don't get bored because I feel I have to learn everything. So it's and yes, I want to explore. So I know that I don't have maybe a visual style that people will recognize my picture, and I'm not looking for this in my life.
Okay.
I'm looking for exploration and to find the best way to tell the story I want to tell in this moment. So I let the story tell me, I need this, I need to propose a complete storytelling. So, and yes, it's super, I feel I continue to learn about the world where we try to live together. So it's super interesting in this way, and you don't have any day similar at the day before. So it's, you know,
I
it's
mean,
super
that's amazing.
diverse.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's admirable because there are a lot of photographers that maybe only do portrait or maybe do only landscape photography, and I mean, they some of them do really like the best portraits or the best landscape, and that's amazing. But what I even for myself, my own personal journey, I'm a filmmaker. Like when I just started this podcast new, and I just like putting myself in situations where you have to learn and explore because you learn that you can also do new things that you never thought you could do by doing something like that. So thanks, Anita, for coming on the show and
It was super
sharing your
nice.
photos. I'm glad. Yeah. Make sure to subscribe to A2 the show if you enjoy this conversation. You're like, wow, that was a great podcast. Hear more. Subscribe. Big red button. Tag below. Make sure to check out Anita's page, her Instagram page, her website. We'll leave the links of all the things we had in the bio. Anita, is there anything you want to say before we wrap up here?
No, thanks. I'm super happy to have spent this time together. I think it's nice that the pandemic turned virtual everything, but finally it's cool to spend some time in Los Angeles today with you.
Amazing. Yeah, it's cool hanging out in Argentina. Can you tell the audience to subscribe, please, Anita?
Yeah, well, subscribe to discover more and more interviews.
Amazing. Check it. All right, this is how we sign out. So let's cover the cam and peace.
America, last time I checked, you're not my dad. I just hate the way every freaking like Amlo thinks he's my dad and wants to like walk up to like every single brown person. I guess man or woman, auntie or uncle, just walks up to you and thinks that they can tell you everything about you or criticize you. And I'm like, sorry, you're not my parents.
Yeah, and especially I think with women too, they feel like they're like, well, like it's cool that you're doing this, but it would be great if you were like more of like a role model for it. It's like, no, my jokes are for me and my experiences, which like as a Muslim woman, all of our experiences are so different.
Yeah.
Also,
so
like
different.
we're done being polite. Like I'm done like just like keeping my mouth shut and listening to how the men tell us to talk and what society